Welcome back to where Rovers walk. The last time Blackburn beat Plymouth, 1992. And they're hoping to put an end to that run this weekend as Wayne Rooney and John Eustace come face to face at Ewood Park. Two managers who had their time last year at Birmingham City this year are flying with their own squads. We've got Tom, Harry, Jason and Mark back with us to review the QPR game, to look ahead to Plymouth and talk all things Rovers. Promotion? It's looking more likely. Welcome to Where Rovers Walk. It's getting a little trifle boring this, but welcome back to Where Rovers Walk. Another happy Harry, Tom, Jason and Mark. And thank you for all the comments and the likes that we have received over the last 7 days. We're excited. This is a Rovers side that is not just playing well and picking up points. That's exciting to watch as well. We'll get Tom and Harry's and Jason's views on that in a second. But it's Plymouth up next, and that's what we look forward to. We are recording this, of course, before the Coventry result, so we don't know how that has gone. But fingers crossed that has gone just the way that these guys want it to. Plymouth next then, Tom. You fancy your chances against the Wayne Rooney side?
If you'd have asked me this a couple of weeks ago, I would have said all day long, I think, well, we can get a result. But of late, I know Rooney's got them playing a little bit, and they've got some decent players, and they've won, 2 of the last 3, and they narrowly only lost to West Brom 1-0. So I'm a little bit more reserved regarding going away to Plymouth because, being a Rovers fan, nothing's ever easy, and I think there's obviously a bit of needle there between Rooney and John Eustace. Obviously Eustace lost his job, Rooney came in at Birmingham, and I think John Eustace will be really up for the game to try and, he might not say it publicly, but I think he'll have a point to prove here. Rooney's still finding his feet, I think, in management, and I think a lot of Plymouth fans would still argue he's quite tactically inept, and I think it could go either way, but I'm confident Blackburn have got enough in the locker to go there and continue on this fantastic run and get a win.
All right, we're going to ask you for your QPR views in a second. Before we do that, we're asking you at home this week, 3 players that have played for Plymouth and Blackburn Rovers. There's not many of them. PG, CSBH will get these 4 to give us their view on that in a second. Right then, let's have a chat about QPR then. Harry, kick us off. What impressed you? You're muted, my friend.
Hello. Sorry. I thought it was just another really confident display. I thought QPR didn't really trouble us apart from a couple of chances in the first half, maybe. And yet I thought we looked really assured. I don't think it was ever really in doubt, especially when we went down to 10 men, that we'd go and score, although we didn't do that. So it was nice to have that change there. I thought the changes we made were really interesting. Cantwell came in, made a difference, and scored a couple of good goals. And I thought, overall, really confident display.
Just to add to that, really, I said Dolan's first half is one of the best first halves I'll see from a forward player in a long time. He was everywhere, all over the place. He was tracking back, covering for defenders. He was everywhere. He didn't sort of continue it second half, unfortunately, but I think he sort of got upstaged a bit. Cantwell come on and just upstaged him. I thought he just loops the part when he's on the ball. He's confident. But I thought we were brilliant. I thought QPR offered next to nothing. I think they're going to struggle this year if they're playing like that. I think, but I think we'd have won comfortably with 11v11. To be honest, I don't think QPR offered much. I think the sending off coming at the right time where we come out the second half fighting. But I thought it was confident. That second half was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was that second half. I think as well, when Cantwell came on, it gave everybody else a lift. Completely lifted all the other players. Yeah. Like I said, Dolan was excellent first half, but there wasn't much in it first half, I didn't think. As soon as Cantwell came on, it just gave the whole place a massive lift.
The QPR fans were saying about the red card, in that whilst it okay, might have been orange. The reaction of the players, I forget which player it was now.
Varane.
Ran with his head in the hands as if he'd broken his leg was what got him the red card. Do you subscribe to that?
Thing is, I think a bit like last week, it was the kind of a similar sort of emotion to the player yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
Because
Preston.
that kind of motion, that's his emotion from behind, and he didn't have any control of his body. You can't go off your feet in this day and age, and it was right in front of the referee. I think it didn't help as well that probably both players went in to referee arguing a little bit, but I think you've got to stay on your feet, and there was no control there. And I think in this day and age, you can't do that without running the risk of getting sent off. It probably 10 years ago, that probably wouldn't have been a red card, but I think today you've got to stay on your feet, and you can't go off the ground and lose control like that. Because it could have been an ankle break. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Danny Batth, got up and he was all right. Because that could have been a lot worse.
Well, there's a similar. It was similar to the one. It might have even been the Preston one the other day. It's even if you win that ball, if you play it, if you're reckless, you're out of control and you're high. It doesn't matter if you win the ball.
Yeah.
No.
Red card.
No.
Yeah, if you stop the showing, that's it. Yeah.
Having that referee, Craig Pawson, come down from the Premier League, I know they've mentioned it on commentary before, and it's happened before because the officiating in the Championship, you'll all agree, is a joke. It's so inconsistent, and I think when these Premier League referees come down that are used to having VAR as the kind of their crutch to support them because they haven't got the ball sometimes to make a decision, and then the crowd can get in their heads, the players can get on their backs, and I think they're not used to it. It's a totally different game, and I think his refereeing of the game itself was poor in general, but I think that decision there could have gone either way, but I think refereeing, I know we can probably touch on that on another day, is quite a point to talk about in the Championship.
Well, I sit in the Riverside and I was walking towards the toilet when that tackle happened. So I was literally at pitch side when that happened, and when you saw it in real time at that level, it looked horrendous. I think looking at the replays, I don't think it's as bad as it looked at first. But he rocketed in, and I think you're going in at that pace, you like you said, Tom, you're leaving yourself open to it, and refs have got a split second to make a decision. They're going to go one way or the other, and chances are you're going off if you're going in at that pace.
Okay. There was one player which came in for a bit of criticism, which the jury's still out on, and that's Guy. Comments ranged online from he looks a bit lost, still finding his feet, give him more time, to being not sure what he knows what he's doing. Mark, are the slight criticisms of him fair?
No, I think it's a bit harsh, really. I think he's done really well since he's joined. Again, it's a new league. I think obviously he got sent off at Burnley. And then, so obviously he missed a game, and then he's been on the bench having to come on. And I think sometimes it's difficult when you're coming off the bench into a game. So I think it's a bit harsh. I wouldn't say he looks lost. I don't think it necessarily came off for him on Saturday, but he still puts himself about. He'll still put the effort in. So yeah, I'm not sure what the other guys think, but I think it's a bit harsh, really.
You got to give those sort of players time. You mean when you buy a big centre forward from abroad, you can't judge him off his first 5 or 6 games.
No.
I agree.
Don't know the league, barely speaks the language. Big challenge for him. You've got to give him that time. I don't think he's the best technically gifted footballer we'll ever have. I think we all admit that that's not his job. He's there to be a nuisance up front. He's there to be a big target. Head the ball into that and bring other people into the game that are holding up. And he's not really had a chance of. He's not really had a run of 90 minutes to sort of have a fair view either way, to be honest. So I think it's best to reserve judgment.
He seems a character as well, doesn't he? Like a kind of good bloke to have around the team. With getting the fans on side and all his social media antics. So I think, he offers that as well, considering he doesn't really speak the language. So I think, he's done that to help himself.
Okay.
I love him. I think he's brilliant. Yeah. I just his character. But he's not just that. Like I said, he didn't do much Saturday, but one thing he did do, he just ran. He just runs. He chases non-balls. He runs back. He was defending he was in a defensive midfielder position at one point. And it's that effort. If you're going to have a bad game, it's the effort. When they're still trying, when it's not working for him, and he just tries all the time. And you can't not love him for me. I think he's brilliant.
What I worry about that though is I think that if you have a player that's just sort of Sam Gallagher's the perfect example of a player that was pure effort.
I know what you're going to say.
And I absolutely love Sam Gallagher. Mark knows about how much last season I spoke about the high praise of Sam Gallagher. But when it's just effort and the goals aren't coming, it worries me that the fans will start to turn. But I think, I'm going to echo what I said before. You've got to give him time. If he doesn't score straight away, I was saying this to my old man. I think it's those kind of centre forwards don't necessarily score 20 goals in a season anymore, because that's not the way most teams play. You don't really play with a big centre forward, get balls in the box anymore. So I think you've got to judge him on his complete game. But yeah, I think it's still far too early to judge whether I certainly wouldn't say it's been a disappointment.
Okay. No, I agree.
All right then. Thank you for that. How many points then are we going to get from Coventry and Plymouth? Because it's our first double week of Championship action. Coventry is a ground you don't do very well on historically, and actually speaking to the Coventry fans earlier, they are optimistic that they can get their season going, given their history with you. Tom, out of 6, when we sit here next week reviewing it all, how many will you have?
I think we should be going for 6 points. When I looked at the run of fixtures before the last couple of games, I thought we can get 15 out of 18 points for this little pocket of 6. And I think Coventry, they've had a shocking run of form recently, and it carries on over from last season when they lost 4 of the last 5 games. I know they've won 1 game so far this season. They're not doing well at all. Having said that, Blackburn have been the team before and bowled into town and been turned over by a team that's not got any form. But I think we shouldn't be scared of anyone. And I think we've got more than enough to go to Coventry, more than enough to go to Plymouth. And I think if we can get 6 points and really put the pressure on the teams around us, because it's such a competitive league at the moment. And there's those teams around Rovers, Burnley, Sunderland, Sheffield, Leeds, Albion. They're not going to all drop points. So we've got to just keep this momentum, because momentum goes so far in football. And I think if we can keep going in the next 2 games, get 6 points, hope the others drop points around us. There's no reason why we can't go top of the league in the next couple of games.
I think it was a Burnley fan who tweeted that the only reason that Blackburn are 3rd is because the fixture computer.
Sure. It's just anything, isn't it? It's just anything, isn't it?
Pointing on to anything.
Just anything, isn't it?
I think the point is, your fixtures when you come back after the international break are shocking. I think the month of November's got some okay, so it might have been kinder to you than others, but you can beat what's in front of you, can't you? Who cares that it's relegated?
And it's the championship. You could play Sheffield United one week, who are potentially the best team on paper, and then play Plymouth or someone who necessarily haven't sort of expected to be down there, and you could roll over Sheffield United and then lose to Plymouth. It's that's how this league works. There's no easy game.
Yeah.
So
No,
fixtures are.
All right, then. We are up to defensive midfielders then in our look at different parts of the side. Now, transfermarket.com doesn't have you having many. I'm sure there's other players that can fill this role. But Harry, for you, who's the best defensive midfielder in Blackburn's books?
Well, it's interesting. As an out-and-out defensive midfielder, it's probably Sondre Tronstad. I'd say he was our second best player, bar Smodics last season. I thought I remember him coming in last season, starting really slow, and I thought this might be a bit of a worry. But after sort of 5, 6, 7 games, he looked like a completely different player, and he was consistently 7s, 8s, 9s out of 10s every game for that season. And Lewis Travis has come back in, playing a bit more of an advanced role, but he can still do that defensive role. But he's looked completely a different player this season. I said this a few weeks ago. he seems to just have so much more quality. And those two as a midfield two really work together. And there's one that wasn't on there that I think is potential could still be a really important player this season is John Buckley. I think John Buckley on paper is probably our best technically gifted midfielder. And he does have that sort of Adam Wharton mould to him. I think he sort of can play a pass. He can get stuck into a tackle, all rounded. I think he's brilliant. He's not quite found his way into that team, but I think we've got some really good options that can play in that double pivot role.
Okay, Jason, do you agree?
Absolutely agree. I think having Tronstad in there is like Harry says, an out-and-out defensive midfielder. He's going to be the making of Travis this season, I think, because he's going to give it. Because Travis is best on the front foot, driving at people, in his ability to pick a pass, and we've seen it this season. He's got a shot on him as well. I think without Tronstad in there, I think Travis would be sitting back a little bit more. So I think they're the perfect pairing in there. I think Tronstad just gives Trav that freedom, and Tronstad barely puts a foot wrong. He just does it. He doesn't do anything fancy. He doesn't do anything exciting. He wins majority of the tackles he goes for. He picks the right. His timing of a tackle is brilliant. He just timed it. Big tackles as well. Tackles where he could be in trouble if he gets them wrong. He always seems to time them right. So Tronstad for me, I think. But I agree with Harry with Buckley. I think with Trav and Tronstad do like a yellow card, so I think they're going to be picking up suspensions as the season goes on, and I think that's going to be Buckley's chance. And I think I think he was decent when he came on Saturday, and I think if he gets his chance, he'll be able to move, because against Stockport, it was one of the best performances I've seen for a midfield for a long time against Stockport. He was brilliant, just so calm and cool and just everything. But yeah, no, I agree. I think we're strong in that department. I do.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you all now for your September player of the month. I just want to share a little tweet with you beforehand. It's a bit naughty to do this, but I'll ask you about it anyway. So the Preston game at the weekend at Millwall, as Majovic was subbed on, there was a bit of a Twitter spat going on. Blackburn fans said this shouldn't be allowed. It's a disgrace that he was allowed to play. Awful from the club. Thoughts, Rovers fans. And I saw it and I just wanted to get your thoughts. Would you expect a player that's carried out that behaviour to be banned from the club and not be playing the next game?
100%. There's no reason why. This is where the FA have got to get involved and sort this out, because it's ridiculous how, Owen Beck, fair enough, he was petulant with his sending off, but we all can hold our hands up for that. He's a young lad, and you've got to admire his work ethic and his aggression, and that will endear himself to the Rovers fans. But that behaviour from Osmatic was just ridiculous. How he hasn't been taken out the firing line as well, I think, because he's asking to get a dog's abuse from all the fans. And I think it doesn't really send a good message across to the rest of the league that even though we've all seen it, we've all seen the social media bite mark on Owen Beck's back, it's clear as day what happened. You can see the slow motion. It looks horrific. I don't understand why nothing's been done. I know they're investigating it, whatever that means. But, it's a load of nonsense that he was allowed to play, in my opinion.
I think it's the seriousness of the allegation for me. I think if he was being investigated for something, he's being investigated for biting somebody. It's a serious offence.
Yeah.
You do that on the street, it's a serious offence. That's why he should, like I said, taken out the firing line. He should be suspended from all football till a verdict's given for me. For that kind of offence.
But Preston, they should deal with that internally. I think if the investigation's going on, they should be dealing with it internally, and they should have taken some action, in my opinion, on that.
I teach. I'm a teacher myself, and I coach the year 5 and 6 boys and girls football team. If any of my kids did that, they would not be playing, and they'd be out of the team. And I think all the kids in my class came back to me on Monday morning and were like, "Oh, did you see what happened at the weekend? You were playing?" And I said, "Yeah, I know, it was a joke." And they were all there giving it, chipping away at their thoughts. But it divides opinions. But 100%, he should not have been playing. And I think if that was a Blackburn player that done that, I think we'd all agree that you can't behave in that way, and you take him out of the team. And I'd like to think that Blackburn would have some sort of integrity and do that, whereas other teams in the league, Burnley and Preston, I don't think would have got such integrity as us.
I knew that would push a button. Okay. I can't wait for the return fixture of that.
I was just going to say, I think he's a rubbish player anyway, so just let him play.
Looks like 40.
He's rubbish. Who cares?
Right, September Player of the Month. Before we go, one name, one reason, nice and quick. Mark, kick it off.
I've had a few players in mind, to be honest, because there's been a lot of good performers, but I'm going Lewis Travis. Since he's come back to the club in the summer, and I think Eustace is. I think I read today in one of the papers. He's an inspirational leader, and he's a leader of men. So yeah, Lewis Travis for me.
Jason.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think he come back to the club with umpteen questions and loads of negativity. A lot of fans didn't want him there, and he's just. I think he's a big reason we're in the position we're in right now.
Okay, Tom.
Yeah, I can't agree. I agree with both what Jason and Mark have said. I know Danny Bath's actually been given the Player of the Month based on a Twitter poll, but I think Travis fully deserves it. Special mention as well, I think, to Tyrese Dolan. We've said before how well he's been playing this month. I think he's got a point to prove this year, but I think Travis, for me and the boys here, is a standout player of the month.
Okay, I didn't even notice he was on the pitch at Preston. Tyrese, to be fair. Harry.
I'll go Ainsley Pears. I think he probably won us 4 points this month, and he gets a lot of criticism at times, but I think since the other goalkeepers come in, he's looked a lot more assured. So I'm going to say Pears.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I don't know how many chats me and you have done it.
Yeah, I know.
You haven't actually.
I liked him from day one.
It's on record. Right, drop yours in the comments below. Yes, Bath may get it, but actually, this is a fan podcast, so we want to hear your views as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll review the Coventry game and the Plymouth game in a week's time. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.